Hi, I'm Tarina Lee. Welcome to MGig. On this show, we will talk to Neil Wedd, a veteran in the music business for well over 30 years, and Matt Ryan and Fred Negro join me for a chat later. From the corporate world to rock and roll bars and music venues, Suzi Q P Dhol, president of St Kilda Live Music, is our feature story. But first, Alejandro Adams from Fuck the Fitzroy Doom Scene is with me now. Thanks for joining me for a chat today, Ali.
Pleasure.
I want to get a little bit of your background.
Yeah.
You're from the band Fuck the Fitzroy Doom Scene.
Yeah.
I just swore on the camera.
Whoops.
No, it's fine. Do you want to give us a little bit of the band's backstory, your involvement?
We're all just like best buddies. And it's just a band where we all get to show off and turn up to 10 and overplay kind of thing and just make music that we kind of like, you know. Lots of it's influenced by lots of 70s kind of rock, you know, lots of bit of prog and, psych kind of bands. But, I've played in bands with the guys prior to this one since I arrived in Melbourne at around 98 from North Queensland up there. Yeah. The bass player and I met in a band called The Inches, which is more commercial kind of indie rock band. And we got along like a house on fire and lived in Berlin together and come back and put this band together.
Yeah, I bet you guys have some stories from
Couple.
living in Berlin. Sure. And you guys, like as a band, you guys are fairly successful. How was that journey in finding that success?
Oh, I wouldn't say it was successful. I think we've found a little diehard little fan base, which has been really good to us. So, you know, I'd still like to take it and tour in some places that we haven't been, but for us, it's just always been about making music, and I think there's an audience for everyone. You know, it's about finding your audience. You know what I mean? So, they've a little diehard audience has managed to help facilitate, recordings and merch and all that kind of thing. You know, just getting behind the scene and stuff. So that's
awesome.
good.
And what were you guys up to prior to lockdown?
Well, we just launched our second album at the Northcote Social Club. The future looks clear, and pressed it on vinyl, and we had some different interstate gigs backed up to try and move that, and everything went into lockdown. That didn't happen. So
down. Ouch! You got the launch in.
We got the launch in. That was great, and we fleshed out the live gig with all the extra instrumentation that we had on the album, like, you know, hammered organ and, you know, female backup singers and saxophone and didgeridoo at one stage.
Yeah, nice.
You know, we pulled in everyone to try and reproduce that in a live setting, you know, and our regular gig's more stripped back, just, you know, a rock show. But
yeah, you made it heaps more of it's obviously still an experience, but I mean, like, you really brought that sort of the album feel to the launch.
Yeah, had fun doing it, and I think we pulled it off. So
yeah, awesome. And what have you guys been doing during lockdown? Sort of how you been surviving? It's been pretty rough for everyone, not just the music scene, but
yeah, you know, like, I'm a full-time muso, and I make my bread and butter doing other like corporates and things like that, which are generally booked in 6 months to a year prior to the actual date. So during the whole lockdown, I was just seeing my calendar going off,
just cancels.
Yeah, cancels, like,
ouch.
You know, crazy. But yeah, we've been going through with Doom Scene, going through our recordings and finding a bunch of outtakes that we're looking at doing another little offshoot album.
Okay,
so that's in the works, and also compiling lots of song ideas. We've just been able to get back in the studio and start jamming again, so we're already looking at the next album of new stuff based on, you know, just going back through all the older iPhone demos from jams and things like that, and trying to finish them all off. But there's another little side project album in the works with just lots of outtakes that, upon revisit to them, we're like, that, you know, there's something in that. Might be worth putting out, you know.
Yeah. How do you see the music industry sort of post-corona and the bands sort of coming out of that as well?
Well, it's uncharted territory.
Yeah.
I don't,
That's a general answer I'm getting from most
Yeah.
people. It's completely unknown, isn't it?
yeah, I'm a bit scared of kind of as far as more commercial gigs go, the bottom dollar kind of dropping after this, simply because venues are limited in capacity, and they've had to maintain outgoings during this whole time. So, I got a feeling musos will feel that pinch for a while. But at the same time, it's forced people to create new business models and
Yeah, a whole bunch of new platforms.
Yeah, exactly. So that's you always got to take the good with the bad, and I think the music industry, for better or for worse, is always used to change.
Yeah.
And kind of rolling with the punches. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Was it the Teskey Brothers had that live album that went to the top of the charts, which is just unheard of, live album at the top of the Australian charts, and that's simply because all the major albums pulled all their releases over that time. So it's funny, some people are doing well out of it.
Yeah.
There's a couple of other, like there's a rapper dude, I forget his name, but a friend was mentioning, he did some collabs during lockdown, and all of a sudden it's just launched,
blown up.
Obviously different scene, but yeah, it's just launched his career. Like, so yeah, I think we all just need to be open to change at the moment, and look for the best in whatever.
And you've also got other projects that you're working on.
Yeah, well, I made this kind of psych rock kind of tune in lockdown, but I'm going to funnel all those tracks under this Ballroom Days, DAZE, and you can find that on different platforms. There's a film clip that I made. It's pretty creepy. I made it in St Kilda right in the middle of lockdown. I just kind of wanted to document how quiet the whole area. I've never seen it.
It's like a ghost
like
town.
that. Exactly. So yeah, you can find footage of me skating around St Kilda with no one on the streets, and yeah, I'm going to keep on creating content for that band moniker, and hopefully when there's enough songs, put a lineup together and do some shows with that down the track. So yeah.
Nice. Thanks for joining me today.
Pleasure. Cheers.
Neil Wedd has been in the music business for well over 30 years. He has managed, toured and advised artists as well as managed venues. Neil has been the booking manager for the Thornbury Theatre for 8 years. Thanks for coming in and joining me today, Neil.
That's all right. Good bike ride. So
It's a nice day for it.
Indeed.
I want to ask you a little bit about your backstory. You've been working in the music industry for nearly 40 years now.
Yeah. So I started, great story. So I used to be a computer programmer from the mid-70s on, came from Tasmania, ended up in Perth. And I walked into a Simple Minds concert in Perth in a crowd of 1,500 people. Used to go to a lot of gigs in Melbourne. And I walked into Ken West, who ended up running the Big Day Out. And I knew who he was because I was a big fan of bands and used to go and see lots of them. And I said, "What are you doing in Perth?" And he goes, "What are you doing in Perth?" And he goes, "I'm bringing out New Order and John Cooper Clarke." And he goes, "I'm looking for a promoter." And I went, "I'll do that."
So straight from computer programming to
basically
promoting.
Yeah. Yep.
What a career change.
I know. And as I would say to anybody, that's what happens when you go out. If you don't go out and make an effort to meet people, I knew him from the Reels and from the Laughing Clowns, and that's how I got started. And he trusted me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I did John Cooper Clarke, I did Lou Reed, I did New Order, the Go-Betweens, the Models, Hunters and Collectors, the Hoodoo Gurus, lots of things. I brought Jonathan Richman out to Australia in 1985, I think it was. And then I ended up coming back to Melbourne. And so since then I've been running venues. I ended up doing the Old Greek Theatre, which is a fantastic gig in the late 80s in Richmond. Then I ended up at the Prince of Wales during grunge, which was an unbelievable time. bit of working at the Greyhound, did the Metro twice, booked that, then did Billboard, and I've been at the Thornbury Theatre for 10 years.
Yep. Working as a band booker promoter there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Managed British India when they started out, managed some other bands over the time.
Yeah, it's quite a history.
Interesting times.
You got any interesting stories out of your 40 years?
Oh, yeah, but do we want to talk about that? So, look, we're lucky. It's a fantastic business just to see, unbelievable spectacles and that you get to be part of it. I mean, we at the Prince of Wales, we had No FX doing their first tour, and it was off chops. I'd gone to the football beforehand, came back, and the promoter someone hadn't bothered, because we used to have two doors at the Prince in the old days, and one from the car park down and the other one up. So nobody had bothered to check, or the promoter had lied. There's about 1,500 people in the Prince, heaving, barely could move. So I get my way in, close the doors off. No effects, get on stage. I'm standing with my back against the glass wall, with my legs on the speakers, bracing the speakers. So because otherwise they were going to because they were just being pushed over. We had a punter barrier, being pushed over by kids. One little grommet goes, "Is it all right if I jump off the roof, off the top of the PA?" There's 18 inches between the top of the PA and the roof, and they're trying to do that. So just bonker, grunge was pretty bonkers, because we didn't realise until that time that you don't, you do not spray water on people's heads.
Okay.
Because all that does is they heat up because they're sweaty, so it just turns it hotter. So you got to put water into them. In those days, we were just throwing, and the steam's coming up, and people are Nirvana raining. Basically, I don't know if you've ever been in a venue and it's rained inside because of that effect, because it's condensation just drips down the wall. In the old palace, they had the VIP area up the top, and you couldn't see. Sometimes there was that much condensation.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so
I'm sure people who were there to enjoy it weren't really noticing, though. They were probably just
they were wondering when Kurt was going to turn up.
Yeah,
because he wasn't well.
Oh, okay. In those days.
Well, from what I don't know whether he was trawling down Fitzroy Street to score or whatever he was doing. But.
And what were you up to sort of prior to lockdown? I guess we've got to talk about, the subject, lockdown.
Look, so Thornbury Theatre, looking to be a really good year, and it started off, normally January's really quiet. We ended up with a bunch of podcasts, like 5 sold-out podcasts. And events, and the year was actually looking really good, really solid bookings. We don't just book live music, we book things, we book podcasts, we have wrestling, we do dance school events, we do school events, all sorts of different things. We do a lot of gymnastics kind of stuff, not pole events, but, because we've got the space to do it. So we're a little bit different to most venues. So it was actually looking like a fantastic year.
And then...
not cancel, mostly postponed.
Yeah, it's all put on hold.
Yeah, so life goes on hold. All you can do is sit and wait. We used to get people at some stages starting to go, "Oh, we'll move it along a bit." Now that seems to have stopped, and because nobody's sure, so there's no point, doing stuff
and risking a potential.
Well, no, because you can't plan.
Yeah.
Because you're going to fly. If you're going to fly, and what do you want to do? If you're a band, you're going to have to drive down again.
Yeah.
Like everyone used to drive up the Deadly Hume, and nobody got buses. Or nobody got planes. You used to drive.
How do you see the music industry sort of post lockdown? Obviously, things are going to have to change, like you said. It's not going to look how it did prior.
Well, if there's a vaccine, that's okay. There's going to have to be more tracing. So you need to know when somebody's been somewhere, so that you can help do that. I mean, can you book 2 shows in a row? What happens if someone had? Oh, sorry, I tested positive yesterday.
Yeah.
I can't put the gig on tonight because I've got to deep clean the venue.
Yeah, it's It's very tricky.
Yeah, it's be no international tours.
No, we're not going to see that for a while.
And
I
if
can
you
imagine.
come, you're going to have to spend 2 weeks in quarantine until you do. So unless you've come quarantine, so you can't even say quarantine to quarantine because you get on a plane, it's a flying Petri dish. So, what do you do?
Yeah.
So, look, music business, it's going to have to change. The biggest issue is that mid-sized venues, basically we've been subsidising musicians, and this will be a fantastically controversial point of view. You go to the Forum, you don't argue about the deal that you get, you take the deal that's offered and you play there. Now, if you go to the Thornbury Theatre, we have a fee. That fee, most of us have a fee. That doesn't cover all your costs. We're gambling that you're going to drink for us to make money.
To make some money off the...
Right? Now, that's a broken model.
Yep.
Right? So if you get 1,000 people turn up and they pay $40 a head and they drink $10 a head, that you've taken $10,000. You've got $3,000 profit. You've got some venue hire. You've broken even for the night. The band's taken home $40,000. Really? Who knows what form it's going to take? I don't know. I don't know what kind of music it's going to be. But, there's a lot of people are experiencing a lot of joy being able to see their friends again, which is great. And having live music, well, we've all missed it. So it's great to see people doing things on stage, but the business is going to be different, and we hope that it gets back to something approaching what it was.
Yeah. Thanks for coming in and having a chat today.
Well, always a pleasure. It's talked more about St Kilda some other time. So
Yeah, we'll definitely see you again.
okay, thank you. Bye.
Suzi Q P Dhol has worked for the government for many years, but changed her career to the music industry, specifically rock and roll. With a diploma in project management and Bachelor of Communications, Suzi has become a force in the local music industry, being president of St Kilda Live Music. She is the former vice president of Vic Music, the precursor of Music Victoria, and creator of Fair Go for live music.
I started booking bands at Inflation in the city when just about the time grunge hit, and I moved on to the Palace and various other venues. I had a recording studio for 10 years, and then about 5 years ago I got involved in the St Kilda live music scene a lot more. We were struggling with the Palais closed and the SB closing down. It just got quieter and quieter, and I saw a great need for a champion for live music, so I put my hand up, and I've been doing it since. So before those two main venues were closed down, gone through the resurgence and seen the wonderful uplifting in the area, and then bang, now I'm kind of back to square one. The absolute joy that it brings to me. I'm not musical per se, but I'm a very good organiser, and this is my way of thanking the people that give me great joy in life, is by helping them create gigs, because not every musician is adept at organisation per se. They're really good at playing their songs, but I'm good at organising their gigs, so it's a mutual friendship. It's just networking, it's just work. I've just consistently worked and built up friendships and relationships that these people are now my family, and I've done that by always, there's important rules to me in the music industry that I saw were being neglected right from day one, and that's bands being paid properly and being looked after, and also making sure that they get a feed and other things, just treated as an artist should be treated. A lot of bands are treated as second-class citizens by venues, So I always, I make them feel like the talent and the star, because they are. Yeah, I have a long list of bands from the top of the industry down to the newcomers. I know a lot of musicians who have, they rely solely on their live music income, and they've lost, thousands and thousands of dollars, and they've fallen through the cracks with the government schemes, because a lot of them are sole sort of contractors, and so and there's a lot of boxes you have to tick. You have to have an ABN for 5 years and all this stuff that. So a lot of production and band people simply haven't seen any money. I know 2 people off the top of my head personally who have not seen 1 cent for 3 months. I think they're trying. They are giving out handouts, and they see announcements of money and support for different industries. But for a musician to access that money, they've got to have a good understanding of the internet and the complexities of bureaucracy, and have all the documents they need. So it's not, and they can't just go into an office and see someone and say, "Here I am, and here's my paperwork." They've got to. There's a whole process that they might need an accountant to help them, get over the line. It's a daunting thing, and when you're not, you're in isolation. You've never had to do this before, and you don't have the skill set, and you're not really sure where the resources or how to access that funding or when that funding comes through. So it's, it's been an overwhelming situation. They sort of get to, 4/5 down the way of the path, and then I can't tick that box, I'm not suitable for that. So they miss out. Not only is the economy suffered greatly, it's the mental health of not only the musicians but the community. I think, going to a live music performance to me is like going to church. I go with my friends, or I put on this show, and I stand back and I look at how much people are having fun. They're singing songs along together. The band, that's their identity. So the mental health of musicians is being greatly suffered. There's been, some musicians I know, play gigs 5 nights a week, nothing for 3 months. They're not even allowed out their home, and that's a really great concern as well. So I've been, very aware of going forward, not just the economy but the mental health, and innovative ways for artists to be able to perform and still get feedback. The streaming's been going good, but it still doesn't provide that kinship of spirit that we all know and love from live music.
I got Matt Ryan in today. He's brought along Fred Negro. We're going to have a little chat.
Hey Tarina, how are you?
I'm not bad, how are you?
Very good, thanks. So of course we're joined here by, as Mean G in Oakland would say, my dear close personal friend, Fred Negro.
Hi there.
Hey, so how long's Fred's CV? He's a cartoonist, musician, satirist, artist, pub strip, gone for 1,200 plus issues, and now very fortunate to be found a new home in Munster Times. So Fred, I guess, as we've been discussing lately, these are odd, crazy times. How have you been coping? What have you been up to?
Oh, I love it. I've been. I love the ISO. I think they should have a residency of the ISO every year for about 3 months around winter time. I reckon. Just give us a stimulus, lock ourselves in. I've been doing so many paintings and drawings, and I'm enjoying everybody in St Kilda. A self-portrait with everybody I know in St Kilda.
It must be a lot of people.
It's a lot of people, yeah. It's a lot of joy. And I'm going to stick them all on a canvas with psychedelic background.
Nice.
That sounds awesome. Can't wait to see that.
Well, I've been to your place since then, and I've seen the amount of work done. The amount of work Fred has done this time is amazing. I mean, you're always very prolific, but certainly you're not short of an idea. So I guess now's more time to bite the bullet and get the creative juices flowing.
Yes, indeed. I mean, with everybody sort of locked in, I've just been painting fantasy pictures of people hugging each other in the streets and huge groups of people all dancing and watching bands and
Things we haven't been able to do.
Yeah, more bands than there are bands.
Yeah.
And, obviously you're still painting, which is great, and doing stuff. But I guess like me, we're missing the pubs,
Oh, yeah. I'm missing the gigs.
the gigs, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you were playing a fair bit around the traps prior to lockdown.
Yeah, about 4 or 5 gigs a week.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going through withdrawals. I had a couple of gigs at my place in the lounge room.
Yeah.
Yeah, with
S- s-
4 people.
Nice.
It's not the same.
It's not the same, is it?
You don't feel like jumping around in your lounge room.
Yeah, I've got that sort of opinion from a lot of people
I
who've...
just kept watching the telly.
What were we doing again? Got that sort of opinion from a lot of people who've been watching the live streams. A lot of people have been doing it. You don't get that adrenaline that you get from having an audience.
I don't know how to do that.
The live stream?
I did do a live stream with the peptides
Yeah,
a few
yeah.
weeks ago at the Dogs Bar. And
How'd you find that?
apparently that was good. Oh, that was great. I brought along all my giraffes.
Yeah.
They were the audience, and some mannequins and giant blow-up donut. Yeah, I had sex with all of them.
God.
Yeah, the camera shot was amazing. Like, it was like big close-ups of you. The sound was great. It was almost like you were there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Big close-up for Totally Wide, which I loved.
Tony,
Totally Wide.
oh, totally wide. Did I get it in the camera?
You did, yes.
Did I lick it?
Probably.
Did I cough into it?
And how do you see sort of St Kilda, the music scene, looking after Corona or this lockdown? Like you mentioned you've enjoyed having some of that downtime to, be creative at home.
I've been writing so many songs
Yeah.
about ISO.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of them.
I think that when it's all back to, I don't think it'll be back to regular, little bars having bands like Johnny's and that for a long time. But when it is, it's going to be a golden age. There'll be so many great bands because people have written so many songs, and they'll just be so fresh and, keen. You'll get a golden age of music, I think,
Well, something to look forward to.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
and art.
Well, I was going to another exhibition, certainly, because you've got enough to do another expo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have one in my garden,
Excellent.
the front garden, on the street, like a garage sale.
Are we allowed to go to them again?
Well, hopefully one day.
Yeah.
And do you know where we're going to have book club? Because we probably can't go to the Balla, so
I don't know where we're going to have the book club.
maybe back to the Barclay.
Yeah, back to Barclay
Yeah.
or the post office.
Can you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about book club?
Misery Guts.
Misery Guts, yeah, I love the Guts.
I'd like to go there.
Yeah, or the Bolo.
Yeah, the Volo.
Yeah.
They're all good.
Yeah, we're not short of options. Book club is, a dear friend of ours, the CEO, as I coined him, Pete, said to me, why don't you come down to the pub one night? And Fred was there. I knew Fred before that. I guess that's where we started to gel and become good friends. And how many people have been through? When I first got there, Duncan, Damo, Jason were there, and various people have come and gone. But it's just what we call hanging out, which is usually the highlight of the week, which happens several times during the week.
No, I'd imagine people read books in book clubs anyway. So.
Me and Fred do.
Yeah.
Oh, you do read books?
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
Yes, I've got a lot of reading done in ISO. The book club is, it's going to be a long one when we finally get together.
I can't wait.
I'm thinking of,
Honestly.
with Maddie and I are in a new band called The Fierce Urgency of Now. And it's an improvised, and I've just got heaps of words, and we improvise. We were doing Thursday night, sort of 15-minute slot at the Balaclava open mic night for a couple of months before this all happened. And the guitarist in the band, he thinks we should have a concert and live stream it. And he wants to do a 5-hour concert
A 5-hour concert.
in my lounge room. Yes. The songs can go on because they're all improvised. And there's
Yeah.
lots of different weird percussion and synthesizers and guitars and voices and poetry. And we could get a whole bunch of different musicians, do it for 5 hours and do a song for 2 hours. I'll have a break, go for a walk around the block. And someone else can sit down and play, like Adrian or,
Yeah.
Kim Volkman. Or,
Gordon.
Yeah, Gordon. There's a million
Going to have like a
musicians.
little bit like a little band's feel. Just
Yes,
throw all the,
exactly.
throw all the
All joining in
musicians
on,
together.
on kazoos and, those things that go.
Yeah.
which have no name, apparently. Music shops don't know.
No, you just
Novelty shops don't know what they're called.
Oh, really?
And they order them in.
But I love this shop.
call them what you just said then. Just
What are those things called? And the thing curls out.
Other party things.
Party, yeah.
Party
what
balls.
are those?
They
called?
don't know.
Oh, they don't have a name for 'em.
The novelty shops don't know what they're called. I said, what do you order?
Party.
I just
blower
get on the
thing?
phone and say, have you got any of those things that go brrrr?
Yeah.
Okay then.
Yeah. They know what you mean, so
Yeah.
that's all you need.
But I've got a million bits of percussion.
Yep.
So I reckon a percussion, a section in the middle of this 5-hour concert.
Just solo.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Everyone.
everyone.
Yeah. Get random people off the street to tell a story or play some music behind it.
Nice.
Yeah, that's cool. And we're going to live stream that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an awesome idea.
5 hours.
5 hours is...
No, I'm
Yeah,
up.
it's
You
nothing.
can dip in and out of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it won't be straight now.
yeah. Cool.
But, if you like the sound of it, we'll put the address out and they can come round.
Yeah.
If they live in St Kilda. If they don't live in St Kilda, they go, fuck off.
Just go for a week. Don't worry about 5 hours. Just keep
A week?
bringing
Okay.
people in.
That's a challenge.
A week, yeah.
A lock-in.
Oh,
For a week.
ISO. ISO Club.
Yeah. That's all for this week. If you want to get in contact with us, send us an email at ideas@studioemedia.com.au. Thanks for watching. See you next time.